What's going on, y'all? Chuck Nunface here. As you can see, there is a Chris Reeve knives box on the table here. So we're going to take a look at what's inside. And I should really call this video, what the hell is wrong with me, or what's the matter with me? Because contained in this box is a knife that I recently had and then sold. It was a little bit different version of this knife, but I've done a couple videos on it, and I actually just ended up selling it because I basically just decided that it really wasn't for me, and there's other stuff that I wanted to get. Long story short, I don't have that knife anymore, but this came up on Knife Ship Free. I got the email alert. I immediately put it in my cart, and then I kind of sat on it for a couple days because I started thinking to myself, why are you getting this? You just sold one. You don't know, do you really need this? And then I ended up just pulling the trigger. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit, and we'll discuss whether or not I'm even going to keep it. So just full disclosure, this has already been out of the box. I'm just kind of doing it in the box for the video's sake. So these things are always kind of fun. At least I think so. Subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. I certainly would appreciate that. A lot of you are subscribed, and a lot of people have are returning subscribers, or returning viewers, I should say, and have not subscribed. So it really does help the channel quite a bit if you can go ahead and click that subscribe. It helps out with the algorithm and lets YouTube know that this is something that people are interested in watching, and kind of keeps my videos from being relegated to the darkest corners of the internet. So I certainly would appreciate that. All right, anyway, all that aside, we have another Umnumzaan. I've done videos on Umnumzaans. The drop point Umnumzaan. This is the TANTO. So, as many of you, I'll go ahead and link the video, but it's a pretty popular video and a lot of you already saw it. I had the drop point, or the Harpoon Umnumzaan, and I ended up cutting my thumb with it, and I did a video about that, saying that, if this was a flaw with the knife. And I had a lot of people kind of chime in and say, I haven't cut myself on mine. It doesn't seem like it's an issue. A lot of people came in and they said, you know what? I've actually cut myself on knives. This knife in particular, but also other knives that aren't Chris Reeves. And it isn't something that is only Chris Reeve knives. But in any case, what had happened, just as a quick recap, the knife wasn't completely seated in my pocket. And so it was kind of like, I'll just do it like this for the video's sake. It was kind of like that. And so the lip of the pocket, it wasn't really seated. And so with my thumb, I went and pushed down to kind of get it in there. So I pushed down, and my thumb was right there, and I ended up cutting myself. It was this hand. It was my right, actually. But, I mean, it's all healed up. It was like over a month ago at this point. But in any case, and a lot of people, a couple of people were really upset that I would even say something like that. They said, oh, you're misusing it, you're doing it, and everything else. I'm like, did you watch the video? So when I was doing it on video, I was just kind of gliding my finger across, and I could touch the tip of the blade. But this one, I don't think I was doing anything intentional or misusing the knife by just trying to seat it into my pocket with my thumb. I just wasn't even really thinking about it. I just pushed down, and I ended up cutting my thumb. But in any case, and I did have a lot of people chime in and say that wasn't the issue with the TANTO version. And indeed, it does not appear to be. But that's not what this video is about. So I ended up pulling the trigger on this in any case. It is a glass blasted. It is magnet cut. We'll go ahead and take a look. The glass blasted finish on these is just awesome. Here's my Inkosi. I mean, it looks amazing. It really does. And it holds up really well. I've been carrying the Inkosi quite a bit, and it does not have the type of snail trails that a standard PJ would have. I mean, it's got a couple right there, and it's got some right here and everything else. And that's probably more from just the grommet of my pants bending over and things like that, rubbing on, the grommet of my pocket, kind of rubbing on that. It holds up really well. And I've been carrying this knife a lot. If you follow me on Instagram, at Chuck_Nunface, I post this knife quite a bit. And I really enjoy carrying this knife. And so I really do think that the glass blasted finish that CRK is doing is pretty awesome. I really do. My previous video, kind of unboxing on the Harpoon version, I did a full-on takedown and everything else. Like I said, I'll link that video in the description. I'm not going to do that with this one because, quite frankly, I guess I kind of had the buyer's remorse. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I really don't. I don't know if this is something that I'm going to hang on to. I like it. I really do. I mean, I think Chris Reeve Tantos are pretty awesome, and we're going to talk about the Tanto a little bit here. But I don't know if I'm going to keep it. In any case, one thing I will say that the hollow grind on the Umnumzaan is shallower than it is on the Inkosi, and you can kind of see it in the light. You can see how it's ground deeper, especially when you look at the Ricasso right there. You can see I mean, they have the same blade stock, 0.125 or 0.12, whatever it is. And you can see how it goes deeper just by the way the light plays off of it. You can see how it's deeper on the Umnumzaan as opposed to the Inkosi. And it really does perform very well in the cut. It really does such a great job. So I'm on the fence. I'm not gonna mess with it at all right now because I don't know if I'm gonna keep it or if I'm just gonna turn around and sell it in a week or two. I'm not sure. But I ended up getting it. It was there for a couple of days on the website, and it was in my cart, and it was still there, and I'd sold a couple of things recently, and I was like, I'm gonna pull the trigger, and I did. But anyway, don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but that's not really the point. Yeah, beautiful hollow grind on these. It really is. The Tanto, it does not get in the way. I cannot touch the blade, which is nice. And like I say, I'm not saying that's a problem that exists on this knife in its harpoon or drop point configuration, because a lot of people said that wasn't an issue. It might have just been some that are like that. Some runs have that issue, some runs don't. But this one, it doesn't look like it would be an issue at all. But in any case, also with the back of the blade, I can't touch the blade at all there. Because that was another thing that we talked about a little bit, is you can kind of touch a little bit on the Inkosi. You can touch that blade, more so I think on Sabenza. And I had a bunch of people chime in, especially on the old Sabenza 21s, that you could definitely touch the back of the blade, at least up here by the choil. And so if this knife's in your pocket and you put your hand down there for something else, you may end up cutting yourself if you rub up against the side of that. You can feel it a little bit on this one, but it's not too bad on the Inkosi, and you can't feel it at all there, which is nice. So yeah, this is definitely very nice. It would definitely benefit from being broken down and lubed up a little bit, but that will also kind of come with time. Just using this knife and opening and closing it will loosen up a little bit. But I like to on knives that I keep, I like to take them apart and clean them and everything else. But I'm not going to do that with this one because I may just end up selling it. I'm not sure yet. But if you're interested, go ahead and hit me up on Instagram at Chuck_Nunface, and we'll see if we can make a deal on something like this if you're in the market for one of these. Like I say, I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it yet. I might hang on to it for a week or two. We'll see. But go ahead and hit me up if that's something that you're interested in. You can lay claim to it if I decide to sell it. Anyway, we'll just kind of look at the card. I haven't looked at the card at all, so this is MagnaCut at 63.64. That's where I think MagnaCut's going to be best. That's everything I read, at least. And if I trust any company to do it, it's going to be Chris Reeve. They do a good job with heat treat. This was pretty much brand new. This was just completed February 25th of this year. And as of today, it is March 8th, Saturday, March 8th. Glass blasted, right hand. Got the standard stuff right there. Standard. Everything is just kind of normal. Chris Reeve knives story in there. Got the breakdown of all the parts. I'm not going to take the lanyard off on this one because I may, like I say, just move it on down the road, but we'll see. A couple of Allen wrenches, and then the small one for the body screws and pocket clip. And because this one does not have a captive pivot, so you may need both Allen wrenches, one to kind of hold it in place and the other one to do the torquing. And then, of course, the white lithium grease and the Loctite 222 on this one. So, well, I don't know. What do you think? Keep or sell? I don't know. We'll see. I'll hang on to it for a little bit and enjoy it. But I don't think I'm going to carry or use it. I want to be able to, if I do end up selling it, I want to be able to sell it in as new of condition as I possibly can. So I might just snap a few pics of it and put it on Instagram and then move it. I don't know. We'll see. The Inkosi is, I think, and especially the Insingo, I think this is my Chris Reeve. I really enjoy this knife. I enjoy this knife tremendously. This knife, however, the Umnumzaan is a nicer slicer. And honestly, it looks fantastic. Oh, and one thing to note too, Such a cool looking knife. It really is. I just don't know if it's for me. Anyway, the Tantos on these now, it looks like they're basically doing a zero grind on these, which is pretty cool. I don't know if they've been doing that for a long time. I remember the first Umnumzaan I ever had, this was 5-6 years ago. It did not have that that zero grind bevel on the Tanto tip, Tanto, whatever. And I did it manually. I did it by hand. I just grabbed one of my Kingstone 800 and I just did it by hand, and I ended up putting a zero grind on there. Kind of changed the profile of the knife a little bit because it did have a very noticeable secondary bevel. Now this one has what appears to be a very small, teeny tiny little secondary bevel on there, but almost non-existent. And also this is very sharp as well, sharper than the Made blade. I think this could stand a touch up, the main edge. However, this is quite sharp, which is very cool. So I don't know if that's new. Let me know in the comments if that's something they've been doing for a while, or if it is fairly new, putting that zero grind or nearly zero grind on there. Because like I say, it does look like there's a tiny little hint of a micro bevel on there. So let me know in the comments what you think about that, if you have any other information. Yeah, that's going to do it. I just wanted to showcase this one a little bit. Let me know in the comments. Should I keep it? Should I sell it? I don't know. We'll see. I'll hang on with it, onto it for a little bit. I'm not going to take it apart. I'm just going to leave the lanyard on. I'm not going to clean it or do anything like that. I'm not going to sharpen it because I think I just want to decide if I'm going to keep or sell. So let me know in the comment. What should I do? Keep it or sell it? Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Please subscribe if you're new, or if you're returning and not subscribed. I definitely would appreciate that. Drop a comment. Share the video out there. Let me have a like on this one if you enjoyed what you saw, and I will catch you on the next one.